Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Chickenz here, back again with a Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity video. Today we'll be continuing the character guides on the future champions, and in order to decide who is next, we again need to look at the poll. So coming in second place, with the decent lead over Riju, is the Rito warrior Teba. Teba fights primarily with his bow, much like Rivali. However, the key difference is that Teba can't lift himself into the air since he doesn't have Rivali's Gale. However, much of his moveset does incorporate mid-air attacks like Rivali, but after he's done, he will fall towards the ground afterwards. Opening up his attack menu though, here are all of his abilities and attack combos. As always, I'll go over each one of these in detail and I'll show you what each one of these do. We'll start this video off like usual by taking a look at his basic abilities, but before we do, please make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to see more Age of Calamity videos like this. And also, please make sure to leave a like if you watch the video and enjoy it. But without further ado, let's get this video started. Teba's first basic ability is his dash attack, which is done by pressing X while running. This will make Teba perform a roll while he's flying, and during this roll he will shoot out 5 arrows in front of him. Next up we have his arrow flurry, which is done by repeatedly pressing X. This will make Teba pull out his bow and let out a barrage of arrows into the air, and then after a while these arrows will fall back into the ground and damage all enemies nearby. These arrows act really differently, as instead of landing wherever you shoot them at, they'll actually instead follow Teba and land in front of wherever he's facing. So you can shoot them in one direction and then turn around in the opposite direction and run, and they'll continue to land in front of him. Teba's unique action is to charge up a powerful arrow. This unique action doesn't enhance any of his regular arrow attacks, but instead is an entire separate attack on its own. You can charge this by holding down ZR, and it has 4 different levels in which it can be charged, which will change the attack. The first level will have Teba shoot out only 1 regular arrow in front of him. The second will have him shoot out 5. The third is a lot, I'm not sure how many, I didn't really count, but there's a lot more than 5. And the last one will have him shoot out a whole bunch of bomb arrows around him, as well as shoot some bomb arrows into the sky that will come back down and do damage to enemies. This unique action is pretty cool, as you can continually charge it while you're even attacking or flying, but it will be cancelled out once you either use a Sheikah Rune or one of the elemental rods, or do one of the weak point smash or special attacks. Here are some of Teba's weak point smash animations. His weak point smash is standard and just does damage to bosses. And finally we have Teba's special attack, which will make him fly up into the sky and is release a flurry of bomb arrows to all enemies below him. Now that we're done with the basic abilities, now it is time for the Sheikah Runes, and start first with Cryonis. Teba's Cryonis will have him create 3 ice blocks that will rotate him around him while he flies. These ice blocks last a pretty long while and will damage any enemies that come in contact with him. This feature makes Teba's Cryonis one of the better ones in the game, as most of the time it makes it a lot easier to stun bosses that may be charging at you. Next up, for his bomb rune, Teba will fly into mid-air and pull out a bow. Then you can aim this bow with the left stick, and when you press Y to attack, Teba will shoot out a bomb from it that causes a huge explosion upon impact. And one thing that's really good about his bomb rune is that it always exposes the weak point gauge on any bosses you hit with it. For his magnesis, Teba will absorb a nearby metal weapons and use them to create a small whirlwind. This whirlwind will then draw in nearby enemies and do damage to them for as long as it's active. Teba's stasis is sort of similar to his bomb runes. You can also aim it, but for his stasis, instead of pulling out a bow and shooting the rune, you instead use a reticle for aiming the rune to highlight all enemies you want to freeze. Once these enemies are highlighted, they'll be frozen whenever you activate stasis with X, or whenever the timer for highlighting enemies runs out. I'm not sure if there's a cap to the amount of enemies you can freeze, but during my testing I really never found one, so I think the only limiting constraint here is the time limit for using it. Moving on to the attack combos now, and first up is a 7 Wise combo. This attack is just a bunch of regular flying attacks with one bow shot mixed in the middle, and it's pretty good at clearing out large groups of enemies. Combo 2 is the YXX combo, where Teba will do a regular attack followed by a strong flying attack. If you press X again after the strong attack, Teba will pull out his bow and you'll be prompted to press X repeatedly to shoot out a flurry of arrows at your enemies. You can also control which direction he shoots the arrows by rotating Teba with the left stick. For combo number 3, we have our 2 Ys and X combo. For this one, Teba will do 2 regular attacks followed by a strong attack where he pulls out his bow and will shoot out multiple arrows from it as he moves. After you press X, you'll be prompted to again press it repeatedly, which will increase the amount of times Teba shoots out his bow. Combo 4 is the YYYX combo. For this combo, Teba will do 3 regular flying attacks followed by a strong attack where we shoot out arrows from his bow. And these arrows that he shoots out also have a huge shockwave around it that will damage any enemies. And again, if you press X repeatedly, you can shoot out more arrows like last time. Combo 5 is the 4 Ys and X combo. For this one, Teba will do 4 regular attacks followed by a strong attack where we fly in a circle and damage all enemies inside. And again, you can repeatedly press X to extend the duration of this attack. However, this attack is a little wonky to control, but you can sort of control the direction Teba goes in by using the left stick. But since he's flying in circles, it's kind of hard to pinpoint exactly where Teba will actually go when you move it. And our last combo is the 5 Ys and X combo. For the 5 Ys, Teba will do his regular attacks like usual, and then on the X press, he'll fly into the air and pull out his bow. Then you'll have the opportunity to aim where he shoots by using the left stick, and whenever you press X, Teba will fire an arrow that will hit the enemies highlighted within that glowing circle. There's no limit to the amount of arrows you can shoot, but there is a time limit on how long you can use this attack before it's over. Now it's on to our final section, which is the quick tips section, and we'll start off this part by discussing my plan for his weapon build. So like Rivali, Teba's attacks mainly have him attacking from mid-air, so my plan with him is to use 2 mid-air attack seals combined with 2 attack speed seals. The 2 mid-air attack seals are there to buff up his mid-air attacks since he uses them so much, and the 2 attack speeds are there like usual to speed up his combos. And this combination will also get him to plus 20 on his bow since his 2 hidden seals will match with the 2 mid-air attack seals. On to combat tips now, and my first tip is to try to always be charging that unique action. Like I mentioned earlier, his unique action can be charged while attacking, so whenever you may be using any combos, just make sure to hold down ZR so you can get an extra powerful attack in afterwards. Also, a lot of his combo animations do take a pretty long time since you can extend them by repeatedly pressing X, so if you hold down ZR the entire time those animations are playing out, you should always be able to get a fully charged arrow by the end of it. My second combat tip is to try and use his arrow flurry before taking on large groups of enemies or trying to take on outposts. Using this basic ability doesn't take too long, and since the arrows always follow you and do damage to anything in front of you, it makes it a good way to increase Teba's damage output while he's moving around. And finally, for combo usage, I think that combos 2 and 6 are better for taking on bosses, while 3 and 4 and 5 are better for crowd control and taking over outposts. Overall though, I think Teba is a very good character. He has a lot of similarities with Rivali as both have kind of a similar fighting style, but I do think he is a little more well-rounded as his combo 60 is a really good option for reliably shredding bosses, but his crowd control is a little worse than Rivali's. And also, his fighting animations are really erratic, which makes it way harder to control exactly what you're attacking, which hurts him a little bit as a character. But I do think that his Sheikah Rune abilities are some of the best in the game. His Cryonis is really good since it shields him from any incoming damage. His Bomb Rune is really useful as it always stuns enemy bosses, and his Stasis is also one of the best as you can highlight as many enemies as you want when you use it. So I think that Teba's Sheikah Rune abilities all combined together are probably the second best in the game, only behind Sheikah Slate Zelda for obvious reasons. In conclusion though, I think Teba's moveset is very good, although it's a little tricky to master at first. But I do think he's fun to play, but I still would personally choose Rivali over him since some of Teba's attacks have him a little bit harder to control. But that's just my opinion. Leave a comment letting me know what you guys think of him down below. Alright guys, that's going to wrap up the video for today. That was the entire moveset and all the abilities for Teba. Next up we'll be covering Riju, and then afterwards we'll finish off the future champion guides with Unobo, so subscribe if you want to miss any of those. But other than that, make sure you guys like the video if you enjoyed it and found it helpful, and I'll see you guys later. Peace out.